Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unbothered by Ty Rivera. We're high atop Ty Rivera Studios, aka Casa de Bijou. And I'm happy because I finally got one of the people that I really wanted to be here. And that's not anything against anybody. I've definitely enjoyed having everybody I had, but I've been saying forever that I wanted to have Dicey on, and
Wow.
today Dicey is here.
Hey.
What's up, Dicey?
Thank you for having me, Ty. This is
No,
so cool.
I'm glad you were finally able to make it over. I've been trying to have you, and then last week it almost happened,
Mhm.
but you had to work for, what, 25 hours last
Yeah,
week?
yeah. Wiping ass, elderly ass. Yeah.
Yeah, wiping elderly
Yeah.
ass.
Mhm.
We'll get to that in a
Yeah.
second, that part of the
Cool.
story. So I just to set it up for the people that don't know you, Dicey is a comic, female. How do you identify ethnically?
Black.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
different people have different ways.
Yeah.
Some people prefer African American, some people
Mhm.
prefer black. I met a lady that I was by the bus stop one day and like walking over where I used to live. And this lady asked me if I could help her. She was a black lady. And she asked me if I could help her. And you know, old people will tell you their entire story
Mhm.
while you're helping them because she was winded, and I don't know if she had like emphysema or something like that,
Mhm.
but there was definitely something happening with her breathing where she was just winded the whole time, and so she wasn't able to push her cart to her. She lived in one of the assisted living homes right there
Mhm.
on Fountain, and she told me that she prefers Negro because to her black is just a color. And when she was younger, Negroes did a lot of stuff. Like she was like, you know, the Negro College Fund and like different things that she was saying that Negroes had done. And so she was like, I don't even like black. Black is a color to me. I don't want to be a
It's
color.
true, but none of the names really, place us anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if we were from Africa. We don't really know. The Indians say that we were here with them. So it's like, I don't know. I just black is a color, and I look good in black. I do.
You do look good in
So
black.
I don't mind.
I identify as Chicano, which is like
Mhm.
the, term for Mexican American. Some people find that term to be derogatory or, don't like, they think it's like a negative connotation, but I personally prefer Chicano, and that's what I grew up, that's what I am. So I respect whatever people identify as. That's why I asked.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, a lot of people from my Facebook and stuff think I'm, like, disrespectful, but it's just, I go with my thinking and then.
I love all of your posts. It's so stupid. And then just to read through the comments and just people sharing your stuff. And my favorite was when I think it was on the feminist movement, whatever, when they were attacking you, and they were like, "Who is Ty?" I didn't even know who he was until now, and I'm like, "Yep, your job is done. You did your
Exactly.
job."
Exactly.
Fuck how they know you. They know you.
That's what I say too.
So
I'm fine with it.
yeah.
I go in and tag myself when somebody's talking shit and they don't say it's me. I'm like, that's me. So if you guys want to talk about it, here I am.
Yeah.
And but people never have a point. So you've been doing stand up for 5 years.
Yes.
How did I just find out about you this year?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I think that I subconsciously told myself, you know what? This is the year that I kind of been low key and in the background, and I've been knowing who you were, and I've been following you, so that's kind of cool and stalkerish at the same time.
You're
But
so-
still, because I just appreciate your comedy so much, because it's just kind of like mine. It's what I feel, and you can't take my experiences away from me. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just kind of was trying to get really good and not really worried about doing the bigger shows. I felt like that stuff would come,
Yeah.
and so I just kind of, I saw a lot of shitty people, or, not shitty people, but shitty comics.
Yeah.
They just want to be, you're not ready to be seen yet. I think it takes a while, and I respect comedy so much that I wanted to come correct, kind of.
Yeah.
And
No, that
I mean, I don't know if I am or not, but I do.
I would say you are. Yeah, I would definitely say you are because the first time I saw you, I right away liked your stuff, and I was like, this girl is great. I saw you the first time I saw you go up, because I met you before I actually got to see you go up. And so the first time I saw you go up was in the OR for potluck, and it's only 3 minutes, and right away I was blown away. And yeah, that's one of the things I liked about your stand-up, is it is like your point of view, and it's not like cleaned up in the way where it's like, let me say this the most politically correct way possible. To me, what you do feels like, let me say this the way I feel it. And as long as you laugh, that's all I need
That's
from
all
you.
that matters.
Yeah, I don't need you to agree. I don't need you. I just need, as long as you laugh, then we're good. But I don't think a lot of people, because I've heard that you've been getting a little bit of heat about what you talk about on stage, because you do talk about race a bit.
Yeah, and I've just heard it too. People won't. I don't know who people are, but I mean, I take it now that it's kind of a thing, not a thing, but like, a couple of different people in a couple of different circles have kind of mentioned stuff to me like, oh, either people are kind of scared to talk to you, or you come across as, and it's like, why? Just because I'm kind of talking about race in a dicey manner, like in a more, I don't know. It's just my experience. That's all I can say. And I think that's what people feel so, not maybe, I don't want to say defeated when they hear it, but they just kind of know that there's a lot of truth to it. And truth hurts a lot of people sometimes. And there's a lot of comics that use, a lot of white comics that use comedy as an excuse to be kind of racist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like what I'm saying is racist. I feel like this has been our history here in this country, and let's talk about it. Let's joke about it. This is my life. So take it or leave it. You know?
I agree. And that's, to me, the best kind of comedy. I like when people push the political correctness, and then I get other people like mad at me because I am so against political correctness in comedy. What people don't understand is we will, if this political correctness continues the way it's been, we will never have another Richard Pryor. We'll never have another George Carlin. We'll never have any of these great comics, even a Chris Rock. We wouldn't even be able to have a Chris Rock now because everything he says would be censored. Chappelle would not exist, if he were trying to come up now, because people try to shut down. And then the worst part to me is these people have the nerve to call themselves progressive.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're progressive, but we're not allowed to talk about these things that clearly do exist. And we have different points of view depending on where we come from. So you can't expect me to talk like you because I didn't grow up the same place you grew up.
Yeah.
My experience hasn't been the same as you. And then I think another thing that bothers people is you've kind of been, it seems, on the inside, because you're like, your best friend is white. And so like when you talk about white people, it's not in a way where it's like this abstract, I don't know any white people, I'm just kind of, you haven't lived a segregated life.
No.
So I think people get even more bothered by that because it's kind of like you're airing out their dirty laundry from your point of view.
Yeah. It's a fly on the wall perspective. And a lot of times white people, they can, not all, but they can be dismissive, and they can be so into what they're going through, and they don't even realize how other people are perceiving them. And they don't care because they don't have to, you know? And so when you like the wine joke, and I know a lot about wine, that's for real. And I do try to ruin that's true. I try to ruin their time, but I'm still talking about it in a way that you understand. I'm still using the correct terminology. I'm still, I'm just making fun of it. And it's just like, that's just what it is. I mean,
What's your
life.
joke about the tree? I mean, like the wine in the tree, or
Oh, you want something a little more oaky? Oh, you mean like them oak trees y'all used to hang us from, oaky like that?
Oh yeah, that one kills me. That part of that joke kills me. That's when I lost it when we were in the Comedy Store. I just lost it.
That's everybody. Yeah, it's funny because I've been fortunate enough to travel a little bit now with comedy, and most of the world I started comedy in LA, so it's just so different when you get outside of LA, and really, some people are just not, they don't take it well at all. and they'll come up to me and say all kind of stuff, and you're the reason, you're the cause of this, and some love it. And some they don't want to approach me, but they'll smile and they'll wave, and it's just kind of like, okay, you know. And the whole point of comedy is to provoke thought, and to, like, you know, maybe help you see things in a way that you didn't see it before.
Yeah, but some people don't want to see things in a different way, and some people want us to just be ha-ha jokey. Like, you know, I don't know what kind of stuff these people really want. I think they need to stay home and watch, like, comedy on TV where it's been cleaned up and censored for them. You know, I think that's what those people need, rather than coming out to a show and seeing what our real thoughts are. Have you... So you were on tour, or you did a couple shows with the Ladies Night Out, which is Bill Bellamy, and who else did you guys?
Well, on this one, it was Bill Bellamy and Jay Reed and D-Lay.
Okay.
And but Ali from Houston is also on it. Then there's another guy too that's on it. They just all, you know, kind of rotate in and out, where it's 3 of them, and then somebody will host, or somebody will, you know, they have like features, like I was.
So you were one of the features on the show.
I was the only girl they've ever had.
Yeah.
To feature.
Well,
so
that's why
really
I bring it up, because like Ladies Night Out, the theme is it's good-looking guys. And then, are they all good looking?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what the rotation is.
They actually are.
But I know Jay is good. I know Jay's good looking. And
he's the one that hooked me up, actually.
Okay.
So I did a couple of shows in Vegas, and he just happened to be there. And he was like, hey, come do my show tomorrow night. So I think I stayed an extra night and went and did his show. And then, and I just stayed in touch, and I was always like, hey, if you have anything coming up, like, let me. So then he hit me up, and he was like, hey, I guess he asked Bill if I could do it. He was like, she better be funny, you know. And so I was like, yeah, cool. And it was in San Diego, so I just went to San Diego, and that was a really, really cool experience, because they do it big.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they're so nice. And their audiences are just so warm, and they want to just laugh. So, you know.
So the ladies didn't mind you being a lady on the show.
Actually, after the show, a lot of the women in the audience were like, "You need to keep her. You need to have a girl." Like, you know, I mean, it's still full of women, and they still want that woman's perspective. As nice looking as they are, and as funny as they are, you know, still to have a girl on the show is. So that felt good, because I didn't coax anybody to do that. That was just how they felt, you know. So.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad about that, because, you know, sometimes women with other women can be.
Yeah, very catty.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. And it's one of the things that bothers me about the quote-unquote feminist is in a lot of cases, the comics that claim to be feminist are not supportive of other women at all. It's just a marketing tool. It's like, I'm a feminist, so, and then suddenly...
And then to cut you off like those feminists did, to not even let you respond, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like a bitch.
Oh, yeah, it was not at all. And, like, what I was saying, like, on that particular post wasn't even... to me, it was just good advice. Like, if you have no intentions of hooking up with somebody, then don't go out on a date with them and let them spend a bunch of money on you. And if you do, I have no problem with that. But don't act creeped out when they try to kiss you, or because they think they're on a date. But I get it if you don't want. And that's where they also weren't getting me. It was like, I wasn't saying you owe them a kiss. I wasn't saying you owe them anything.
No.
You have the right to say no, but don't act like they're a creep for even trying to kiss you because they think they're on a date. And then I got cut off because I was too logical for them. Like, these people were trying to come at me. So are you saying date rape? I never said anything about sex,
in the
rape.
Whole
Yeah.
nothing.
So
that's just where they automatically go, you know.
It's the only argument they have. It's the only thing they have prepared is, like, to go at it from a rape perspective. So I was, and just like the feminists in general, to me, aren't, most of them aren't even legit, don't have a real point. It's just become a popular thing to say. Just, I'm a feminist, so now.
And I'm still black, so the feminist shit really doesn't even matter to me. I got to get over being black first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before I can worry about being a woman.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's basically just a bunch of, you know.
That's what I told Kenny when I had him on, that, like, you know, when you're ethnic, you have to work harder, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will try to deny that, and they'll throw these little stupid things in our face, like, you know, you guys have stand up for diversity. We don't have stand up for diversity because you guys have everything else. You guys have every other room. You guys have every other opportunity. But
And they still come audition for that.
oh, I know. I was there when the first white woman, Bobby Oliver, who I used to be friends with, gets on my nerves now. This is me talking right now. So if Bobby Oliver's listening, Bobby, you know I used to like you. It's not that I hate you now, but I
Oh
just
my
am not down with a lot of your bullshit. But she showed up at one of the stand-up auditions like several years back, Stand Up for Diversity, and she was like, you know, with her southern accent, she was like, well, I'm a woman. So I think that counts as diversity. I'm a woman. And so that's when
That's that privilege.
and the
that,
other bitches caught on and were
mhm.
like, you know, oh, well, you know, I might be white, but I'm a woman, so I should count as diversity as well. And
I mean, it's whatever. Just be funny.
yeah,
You know, I made it through the first round of that this year, which was cool.
congratulations.
Thank you. My second set sucked. I had been up and sleeping outside, you
Yeah.
know, and it just wasn't what it should have been. But at least maybe next year, like you were telling me, I'll get to maybe go just to the callbacks or whatever.
Yeah, you know, I like I told you about that situation. Those things more than like winning or moving on are about the connections you make in a lot of cases. Cuz those people will remember you, and if you're professional and you're funny, a lot of times they'll find other places they can plug you in. And then also next year when you go back, I know it's usually the same people several years in a row as far
Yeah.
as like the people that are handling the booking of it or the, you know, the judging of it. So just that alone, next year they're like, oh, Dicey, we remember her from last year, you know, and everybody knows that you are exhausted for those things in a lot of cases. I've slept on the sidewalk at least 3 or 4 times now. And so I know what that's like to sleep on the sidewalk. And then you've got your second, like your call back that same night.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I just did one at 1 p.m. or whenever they.
And you can't really sleep and just like,
Yeah, you don't really get to sleep unless you rent a room. You don't even have a place to really chill. A lot of
Yeah.
us would go, like, you know, have lunch somewhere or do something like that, just kill some time. And so you are, in a lot of cases, exhausted. And they know that too. So.
yeah. It was just a good experience. It was just a really good, you know, I've been having some fun this year.
Yeah,
finally, with
it seems
comedy.
like it, and your name's getting around, and that's the good thing is like your name is getting around. What where are your favorite rooms right now?
You know what? I love the OR. I like getting up there,
Yeah.
and it's just I feel it's just the history in that room. You know, it's just like it's a good feeling to always perform at the Comedy Store. You know, that's why I try not to even drink when I go there.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to make an ass of myself. You know, you just don't have a lot of opportunities. You
Yeah.
know, to make an. I just try to really respect that place. I have a lot of respect for that place. But other than that, you know, I like West Side Comedy Theater. I like that. I like doing the mics there. It's always real people in the audience.
Yeah.
It's just far to drive. And then they have Shinerbach there, which is a beer that's made in Texas, and they don't have it everywhere. So I'm drinking, you know, and then to have to drive all the way,
Yeah.
you know.
And you're from Texas.
I'm from Texas, from Dallas. Yeah, I moved here from Houston. So
How'd you end up in Houston?
I went to college in Houston.
Okay, so you raised in Dallas, moved to Houston, went to college there, and then came here how long after your college?
A year.
Okay, and so you've been in LA
I've been
for
here
a while.
13 years.
Same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's old bitches.
I know, especially me.
No, you look good.
Thank you, but you
look
look
real
great,
good.
but trust me, I am old and I feel it, and people wonder why I'm bitchy sometimes on the scene, and it's like, because I'm old and I'm still here with you fools. That's why.
Yeah.
Listening to 20-year-olds try to tell me what I'm allowed to say. That's what gets annoying sometimes. It's like, you're young, you have no life experience. You're talking to me about your theory of how you think life should be, not any life that you've actually lived. And in a lot of cases, the people that are trying to make us all watch what we say have lived sheltered lives. So it's like, you're a white kid that's been around a bunch of other white people. Maybe you have one or two black friends, one or two Mexican friends, and they try to assimilate to what you are. And now you're going to tell me what it is that I'm supposed to be like.
Yeah, I got unfriended this week by some people at my high school because, I went to a mostly white high. It was probably like 40% black, 60 white or whatever. And it just kind of bothers me that nobody has anything to say about innocent lives. Fuck that they're black, okay? Like, it's a life. These people are continuously unarmed and getting killed, and you have nothing to say about it. You don't have to be you don't have to think Black Lives Matter, all that, whatever. But you post pictures of ponies and dogs, and you change your profile picture when shit blows up in France and in Orlando. You have so much to say about the gun situation in America and all this stuff, but then when it comes to that, and then you want to say, oh well, it's political, I don't get involved in political issues, to me, like, the right to live is not a political issue.
Yeah.
And this girl unfriended me the other day, because I told her she was probably raising her kids to be racist and silent cowards. And then she's telling me about diversity this and diversity that, and I looked through her pictures on Facebook. Since 2007, the bitch has never had a picture with anybody black, Asian, anything, nothing.
Yeah,
but white people. That's it. You can't even find. But they don't even realize. They think that they're raising their kids diverse, and I don't know how when they don't play with anybody else but themselves.
Yeah, no, and that was in reference to the situation that happened in Tulsa. Was
What?
that the one? The what you're talking
Yeah.
about, like the guy in Tulsa, which that one, to me, that was one where I really thought that anytime there's one that's really worth capitalizing on, for some reason people really don't, and I don't know why that is. Like, you have the kind of debatable ones where it turns into a big deal. But one where it seems so clear to me, because I know what people have said, like, about him being on PCP and whatever else. And yeah, his car was parked in the middle of the highway instead of like off to the side. And I get all that. But when you look at that footage, there's no way that he should have been shot. So I don't know why people really were so quick to let that one go, where with some of the other ones, it seems like they really hold on to it. I've been on PCP before. When I was younger, we used to do, it was called Sherm or Wet.
I already know. I'm from Texas. They do that in Houston. They be doing dipping blunts in wet.
Yeah. And so it's a lovely is what they call it in Arizona, when you mix the blunt and the what's it called, and the PCP.
Oh.
That's called a lovely. And when I was younger, because I don't know if this is the way they still do it, but what they used to do was they would take a Moore cigarette and dip it. I don't know why they chose Moore, but it was always Moore. It was the brown cigarette. And they would dip it in the PCP, and then they would turn it, like half of it in the PCP, and then they would turn it upside down so that the PCP would like flow through it, and they would keep it in the old film canisters. Those little plastic film canisters. They'd keep it in there, and then like you'd buy it, and it would be in foil. And so you'd unwrap the foil and smoke it. And I remember that one time me and my cousin were afraid to come off of the curb because the curb felt really high up. So we were standing on the curb, like daring each other to like, you step down. No, you step down. I'm not going to step down. And we were scared. But and I had a bad trip on it once. Once I was driving home on PCP, and it felt like I was driving in a video game, but I just wanted to get home. And it was Phoenix, so it's huge.
Did you know your way home?
Yeah, but I was really scared, because it felt like I was driving in a video game, and I knew that it wasn't good, but I just wanted to get home, and home wasn't close,
Wow.
to where we were hanging out. But I know the superhuman strength that sometimes does happen when people are on PCP. Those stories were legendary, but at the same time, it's like, the man didn't seem to be doing anything aggressive. So I don't know how everybody didn't get on board
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of hurtful a little bit. It's like, you don't just the complete omission or I mean just it's kind of like, okay, all right, well, and you can't make people do anything, but again, the fact that she unfriended me, we were really, really cool in high school. So I know that she's still thinking about it. Like, I couldn't even really sleep that night, honestly. It just really bothered me that she was just so close-minded, and she just used her privilege to exit the conversation because that's her right, as somebody that could just, and it's just my reality. No matter what, I can never walk away from the conversation. I got a black-ass husband, a dad and a brother who have all been harassed by the police.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I have too.
Yeah, but some people do not want to face that.
Yeah.
Some people really do not want to face that, and I don't know why that is. I know some people like put a lot of stuff online about like Trump and how racist he is, and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, why don't you pay attention to your racism? Or why don't you pay attention to what it is you might be ignoring?
And you think Hillary is not racist? Like, under Bill Clinton's administration, more black men went to prison than under anybody else's administration. And he was responsible for that 3 strikes rule. A lot of shit that fucked us up, that really did. And she's just going to be the same shit. I mean, I don't trust her. I don't trust him. It's whatever with this. I don't really care. I think if Trump gets in, it'll be I can see some benefits. And if she gets in, I can see some. But neither one of them, I don't really even know if I'm a vote, Ty, honestly. I don't know if I am this time.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump, and the reason that I'm voting for Trump is because I think that whether he's doing it on purpose or not, is forcing a lot of this racism to actually bubble up.
Yes.
And putting us in a place where we're actually going to have to talk about it. Because I don't think it's doing us any good as a country to sweep it under the rug, which is what we've been doing. It's always like, okay, well, let's not say these words anymore. Well, why don't we talk about why we shouldn't say these words anymore? Why don't we talk about where these words came from? Why don't we talk about history in a more honest way instead of trying to clean everything up and make everything look like really pretty and like, Rosa Parks. Why don't we talk about what happened to Rosa Parks after the bus situation, where she wasn't able to get a job and where she was basically blackballed within her own community because she was considered a troublemaker. Even though clearly things moved ahead, she wasn't seen as a hero until years after. So why don't we hear more about this instead of just being like, oh, this is the way it went and it was all beautiful after that. No, it's not beautiful. It hasn't been beautiful. I believe one day it could be beautiful once we start owning some of this stuff. And like what you were saying about your friend, once your friend finds herself in a more honest place, maybe she can grow too.
And maybe we can be friends again. I just think it's some bullshit. We're just, she erased the comments that she wrote on there, before she unfriended me. So you couldn't even see the thread of how because maybe she realized that she sounded ignorant, and if that's fine. That's the point of the conversation. You know, maybe you'll inspire one of your other ignorant ass friends to like look at themselves more deeply and like, let's figure this shit out. Like, that's what time it is now. My mom, she just went to her class reunion this past weekend. I haven't even talked to her about how it went yet, but she went to Catholic school for a while, all through elementary. She was the only black person in her class. She played with these kids, from kindergarten up until the 6th grade. And then they went, I guess she went to a black junior high or something. But then high school, when integration was happening or whatever, it was segregated. It was still segregated because she went to a Catholic school, she was able to go to school with white kids too, because they didn't, honor segregation in hers. But long story short, she says that these white kids would, and they've done me like this too. When I was coming up, they'll act like they don't know you in front of their other white friends. And all through high school, a lot of these kids would not even speak to her that she knew. And, can you imagine like going from kindergarten to 6th grade? So she said that she was going to ask some of them this time, why did you, this is, I think, her 35th class reunion or something like that. And she was going to ask them, why did you ignore me, after we got to high school? Like, why is it that you acted like, she's felt this all these years after, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't even know where we were going with that, but
Yeah, no, but
it's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy, and it it is worth talking about because I think a lot of people don't necessarily own how close we are to where that was. Like like your mother is not an old woman.
Yeah, they integrated their schools. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and she's not an old woman,
Yeah.
So for that to still be a person that's alive and not old that went through that, it's like that's where we are. And so now to pretend like we're just like everything's better now. Everything's not better. Clearly everything's not better.
Yeah.
That's why people get mad at me, because I do in my comedy throw these things in their faces. And they get
Yes,
mad
you do.
about it. They get mad about it because it's like, I feel like until we talk about this kind of stuff, it's not going to get better. That's the reason when it comes to me and my personal relationships, like my friends and stuff, I'd rather have a friend that disagrees with me openly than a friend that smiles to my face and then talks about me behind my back. That's what I prefer. I prefer every once in a while I get into it with one of my close friends and we like have a heated discussion. And then, at least it's out there. And we've both been honest, and I don't hold on to feelings afterwards about.
It's just good to know where and I have a lot of white friends that don't agree with my methods or the things I say, or, and that's fine. And they let me know that. And we can talk. It's just we're grown. Why can't we just talk? You can feel the way you do. We all feel different ways about different things. And that's just what it is. That's life. And I think some people might think that, like, maybe, I don't know. I'm working on making my comedy a little more two-sided when it comes to the race stuff. Trying to soften it up a little bit. I'm still going to be super edgy, and I'm not changing a thing, but I'm just going to add to what I have. Like, kind of like Jim Gaffigan. You know how he does, like he has those voices. He'll be like, "Oh, did I do this? Oh, I'm not that I'm gonna do that."
Yeah, but people will be mad at you from both sides after that. I get in trouble. I get in trouble for that same thing because, like, performing in the rooms that I performed in, because I performed in a lot of redneck clubs and redneck rooms at this point, and so I've noticed like certain things that it's being LGBT, like I've noticed certain things that people will tell me that they don't understand because of the kind of comedy I do. People are very honest with me after the show when they talk to me. And so they'll be like, okay, well, I don't get this, or what about this? And, I just hear them out. I don't argue with them. I just hear them out. I'll try to like give them a little tip or a little insight if I can, about certain things. And I found that if you talk to people in a calm voice and you treat them with respect, even if they say something that's quote unquote ignorant, a lot of times they'll take that in.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, oh, well, I didn't know that, or I never thought of it that way. But people don't hear anything when you just yell at them.
Yeah.
So because I've had these conversations with people, I'll say things from a certain perspective sometimes and just be like, I can see, like the joke I do right now about Caitlyn Jenner. Have you heard that bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, on the one hand, I can understand ladies getting upset about, Caitlyn Jenner becoming Woman of the Year. But on the other hand, you have to ask yourself, how little did you bitches do that all she had to do to become Woman of the Year was become a woman? And, like, I notice that people will laugh about that. And then I go into the trans side, and, like, where trans people complain and where it's like, you're not helping yourself out. Like, you complain about being misgendered, but if you don't look like what you're supposed to look like, how the fuck do the rest of us know what you're supposed to be?
Yeah, like you were saying, how does it? You don't look like either one of them.
That's exactly. Yeah, you don't look like. I don't know if you're going to male to female or female to male. I don't know what you're doing. I took a guess. I guessed the wrong one. Now you're mad at me. It's like that's the way a lot of straight people are feeling. Or people that aren't LGBT or LGBT experienced or an ally. Like a lot of these people are open to taking, like, respecting you. They just don't know what it is you're doing. And then you throw in stuff like Drag Race. A lot of people have been watching Drag Race, which is a drag queen show, but then they get confused on that because drag queens don't usually care if you refer to them as he or she. they're open either way. And so then that throws people off because they're like, okay, well, I don't know now what I'm supposed to refer to people as. People call me girl all the time just because that's the way they talk, or like last night when your friend said, no ma'am to me, and then she was like, I meant no sir, and I was like, no ma'am's fine. we can leave it like that. I mean, like, because I personally don't mind either way. I have fun with both, and just think it's people expressing themselves. I don't think of it as like, oh, this person doesn't respect me as a man because she said no ma'am, like to me it was just like, that's what you felt like saying, and
and that's what came out. So
yeah, and it's like it was funny, like to me it was silly, it was fun. So
but some gay men do get mad at that. They're like, they feel like you're trying to be too comfortable or something, or I don't know what it is, but they get mad.
Yeah, the only person I ever got annoyed with for that, and I shouldn't say names, but Marcela Arguello, she thinks we got in an argument about something else because I cut that bitch off, and she thinks it was about something else. But really, it was just about that. And it wasn't even about, it was her being disrespectful because she's used to hanging out with fags that kind of feature her and act like she's something more than she is. And to me, Marcella is okay, whatever, but nothing particularly special. And so you're not going to, yes, bitch, no, bitch, like talk to me like that. Like, that's not even the way I talk to her or any of the women that I know, like after I've known them for a long time, once in a while I'll let a bitch slip just because it's funny, to be like, bitch, you're out of your mind. But it's just not the way I always talk to people because I feel like even with your friends, you should have like some sort of respect, you know what I mean? But
unless you're friends with Punky Johnson, and then everybody's a bitch.
Yeah, well, Punky Johnson.
Bitch.
See, but I love that too. Like when that's just when that's somebody's personality. But there's a difference, and I go more than the words people use. I go on what I feel off of them. So if I notice you're starting to come at me with just an overall disrespectful tone, I'll just cut that and be like, no, that's not going to happen. I don't need you. I mean, like, so, but I've had people like try that, and I know there's a difference. But when it comes to just the words, I always take the feeling. I'm like, okay, you're being silly right now, whatever, but sometimes, like I said, people get disrespectful, and I think you can tell the difference. That's why, like, even fag, a lot of my straight friends use the word fag quite a bit. I remember one time, one of my friends, I had broken up with this guy, and the guy wasn't good for me. He was super hot, though. Super hot. His name was Michael. He was half black, half Mexican, and just... he worked at Roscoe's. And so there was that chicken involved too, which
Come
chicken.
through Roscoe's.
Yeah, and we used to eat there for free all the time. Like Eric Griffin, I don't know if you know Eric Griffin, but that's when me and Eric Griffin used to be at Queen Mary in Long Beach. And so we would always go eat there afterwards. Eric Griffin tells jokes like to me about it. Like, it's true story though. After me and my ex broke up, Eric Griffin used to go there for free chicken and pretend that he was just listening to my ex tell his story. He'd just sit there like, what? He did what? And just be eating chicken for free. But my point is, my friend Matt, after me and this guy Michael broke up, my friend Matt was like, all about like, okay, well, you're out of that and that's good. So I get back together with him. And my friend Matt was so frustrated. He was like, you dumb fucking faggot. And I know that would seem disrespectful to some people, but to me, it was so funny because it was so from his heart and him just being annoyed with me as his friend for going back to this bad relationship that had really, my keys got thrown in an ocean at one point.
Wow.
This is a bad relationship. Like, it was all the way around bad. It was...
Was that your last relationship?
No, my last relationship was my engagement.
Oh, you were engaged.
Yeah, I was engaged.
For how long?
Only 6 months. But it was 6 months was also the duration of the relationship. It was like, as soon as we got together, he said that he wanted me to be with him forever, and put this little stupid ring on my finger.
With diamonds.
No, just a
Yeah,
little
it was stupid.
stupid ring. Yeah, exactly. It was a little stupid ring, and it was just like an in the moment thing, and it was like he didn't have a lot of money, and he had this really, I guess you could say, fucked up story, but like I really was in love with him, and but I was too crazy at the time, and I wasn't.
So it was your fault why y'all broke up?
I would say honestly, yeah. I would
Uh-huh.
say I was the complete problem in that relationship. But, I had just had the silicone removed from my face,
Mhm.
and that was like an entire like process and stuff like that, and I wasn't ready to talk about that with, somebody that I had
Mhm.
just met, and I didn't want to tell him about that. And so, there was what I was going through mentally there. Then there was my own like trying to figure out what I was doing as far as my career went, and he lived in Phoenix and I'm here in LA, and so that made it hard. And I was just all around, like, mentally, I would say, kind of a mess, and it was a lot for him to deal with, and he had a hard life already, and I think his thinking was, I don't want even more.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Where's he now?
in Arizona.
Still? Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk at all anymore.
Are y'all Facebook friends?
Not at all. Nothing. No contact. No restraining orders were involved,
Hmm.
but they definitely could have been.
Do you creep onto his page every now and then?
No, I have no way of getting onto his page, or I don't. I left that alone. Maybe one day I'll reach out to him in some way, because I really did. If for nothing else, just to like clear it up, just so he understands what was going on,
Mhm.
because we never had like a full on where I was, and usually I'm completely honest with people, but like I was so, like, everything was so different for me at that time, and I was going through so much on my own that I wasn't able to be completely open with him, and there's no way to be engaged or ready to be married to somebody if you're not ready to be
Yeah.
honest. At the very least,
Yes.
say, this is who I am, this is what it is. And so
Do you want to be married still?
one day when when I get to where I want to be in my career, then I'll be ready to actually settle down. But for right now, I have to be selfish.
Mhm.
I know you're married.
Yeah. Yeah. Been married. I just celebrated a year. September 6th was the year.
Married a year. How long were you guys together?
8 years before we got married.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys
Or
really
no, actually 7 years before we got married. Yeah.
so you guys really knew each other.
Oh yeah.
How long did you guys live together before, or out of that
we
7 years?
we lived together the whole time. We moved in like 3 months after we knew each. And so I don't know if I told this on Courtney's podcast or not, but I met him. Well, I was celibate for 2 years.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did mention that.
I was, and I was a year into my celibacy when I met him, and so he was like, "You're worth the wait. It's cool." And we moved in together. He didn't pressure me or anything until like the week before that shit was over. He was like, "Oh yeah, you know that shit is up in a week, don't you?" Like, what? So it was weird,
So were you guys doing little like cheat stuff?
Not really.
No, you
Not
guys were
really.
being-
I mean, I saw it.
yeah,
I had to know that I was what I was,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I mean, let me see it, but that was pretty much it.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
I don't know how you stuck to 2 years.
I don't either. Well, I was doing the absolute most though before that,
I've been there.
you know.
Yeah, I kind of keep it at the absolute most. I go on breaks from being slutty, but I'm terrible at times.
That's why I don't know how two men ever work out, because y'all are both terrible.
I
It's
know.
like, wow.
Yeah. Well, good thing I play the role of a Christian woman when I get in I don't think I've, well, not, I don't think, and this is not something I should ever admit to, but it's just the truth. I've never been faithful to anybody. I cheat. That's what I do. I feel like if you don't want to get cheated on, I'm definitely not the right guy.
You think you just
for you.
haven't met anybody worth not cheating on?
I've met some really good ones, and I've been in like relationships with really good people, but I don't know. Maybe I need to figure out in therapy. I just don't want to go to any kind of therapy until after I've made it because I
Yeah.
feel like being fucked up is one of the things that makes me funny.
Uh-huh.
I've noticed when comics make it and they go to therapy, they usually become way less funny. It's like,
That's
oh,
interesting.
you're working that out with somebody professional now instead of on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, and I could be wrong, maybe.
No, that's true. I'm sure that, that's all the way true. I probably need therapy too, but ain't nobody got time for that shit.
That's what I say on top of it. Like, I don't want
To
to
make another hour, out of the day. do that?
Yeah, to go talk to somebody. I mean,
Who probably is not listening.
I wouldn't doubt a lot of them aren't listening. They're just watching the clock
Yeah.
and scribbling on a pad.
Mm-hmm.
They're drawing you.
Yeah.
They're just like
Back there doing artwork.
a quick sketch. Yeah, I guess we learned a lot about me on this episode.
We did. Yeah.
What
I'm
about
comfortable.
what about you? What are your goals this year? Do you have any big goals coming into the end of the year? Or
You
are
know what? This year, my biggest goal is to get one of these white men to take me on tour with them and let me open for them. I think the climate of I just think that would be such a perfect thing. Like if one of these dudes would just take me with him somewhere.
Who do you like?
I like Chris D'Elia. I know that's kind of, being ambitious. But fuck it. Why not? I like Michael Costa.
Yeah, Michael Costa. I like Chris D'Elia too. I've known
think
him
he's
forever.
both of them. And who else do I really like that? I like Jim Gaffigan a lot. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan.
I think he's so hilarious. And it's funny because my aunt, she never responds to like us watching TV. She just sits there and watches it. But when he, for his comedy, I put it, because I watch Netflix specials with her all the time. And she thought he was so funny. She was like laughing out loud the whole time. And at the end, she said, "Now I will buy his album. Now I will buy." I'm like, okay, yeah, you mean you would download it? But
So what's the story with your aunt? Your aunt is
she's 86. I started taking care of her totally by accident when she was like 82, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already like, checking on her or whatever. She lived in Beverly Hills. And I would go over there and check on her and help her do different things. Bought her a new computer with her money, just helping her upgrade her stuff. And I just was noticing a lot of changes with her. And I was telling my mom, like, she's not the same. She lived like upstairs too, so she had to walk up all these stairs. Sorry if I spit on you.
Oh no.
She had to walk up all these stairs, and anyway, long story short, the hospital called my grandfather, which is one of her only living relatives. I guess that they had him on file, and she had been in the hospital for a week. And so my grandfather called me like, "Well, go check on Betty." I don't know. The hospital called me, and I get to the hospital. This bitch is standing at the nurse's station with her ass all out, like. She had been standing up there like she was just losing her mind. She was still, they go through so much like denial and just all kind of things when they're losing their mind. So she was just like terrorizing these poor nurses. And we walk up and her friends are there too, some of her old ass friends. And my husband was there with me. And he was like, "Betty, what are you doing? Come on, let's go back. Let's go sit down in the room." And they were like, "How did you do that?" They had been trying to get her to sit down for like 2 hours, And so they could tell that we knew her very well. We had been around her a lot. But these are her friends they've had relationships with her for like 55 years. They totally didn't trust us. She had a lot of money. They just totally didn't trust us whatsoever. And long story short, we ended up just going through all kind of stuff. all kind of caretakers. It was a high speed chase on the freeway. One of her nurses tried to kidnap her and take her money, and like just the craziest shit with this old woman. And
Because she's suffering from dementia.
yeah, she's suffering from dementia. So right now she doesn't walk anymore. Like, you know, it's kind of crazy because I've been seeing the decline over the last 4 years, and now she has to have 24-hour care. Her food has to be blended. You know, I got to wipe her ass and change her. I actually watch her for like 1 or 2 nights out of the week to make it cheaper because the nurses are expensive. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like that shit. It's like $6,000 a month. You know, and so to alleviate that, I do that, and it's just very interesting being in charge of somebody else's life.
So when you aren't taking care of her, who is or what's
The nurse, she has 2 nurses
that
rotate. They've been with her for 4 years now, 2 Filipino nurses who I just adore. I just love them so much. They make my life so much easier. I'm her only family here, and I just refuse to put her in a nursing home when she has money to care for herself. It takes a little coordination, you know, and somebody had to be there to do it, which none of them were willing. None of her friends or people at her church were willing to do that. They just wanted to put her in a nursing home. And she told me she did not want to go to a nursing home. And her best friend was like, she don't want to go to the nurse, you know?
Yeah, my mom has always said, you know, don't ever put me in a home. I don't care what happens. Don't kill me before you put me in a home.
Yeah.
And that's literally something she's told me. She was like, kill me before you put me in a home. Do not put me in a home. And so I know that, yeah, I can see. And, you know, I've known people that have been in homes, dated one.
Ty.
Date's a strong word. Date's a strong word. But anyway. And believe me, it's not a place anybody wants to be.
No.
But I get what you're saying. It's got to be hard though. So how many days a week do you?
1 or 2, you know, just depending on what I have going on. Like if I know I'm gonna be out of town or whatever, I try to, you know, I try to do it all in 1 week. But basically I need to work like 5 days out of the month to really keep things afloat, you know, and just have a little extra cushion, you know, because I mean, you can blow through savings and blow through everything. And then the fact that we're not her kids, you know, we're not like super attached to the situation. And I don't want, like, she's not my mom. Like, as much as I love her, like, I don't want to be, and even with my mom or any of my, like, just the moral of this story is get long-term health insurance that covers, you know, nursing home or covers nurses and in-home care. Like, set that shit up. That's what I've never thought I would be doing this or even thinking about annuities and, like, you know, all the things that she set up for herself to really make it easy for us.
Yeah, how did she make her money, or what was her?
She was a teacher. But the Beverly Hills urban legend is that she still won't tell me all of her business. Like, I've had to learn things from her. When we took over, like, her nail shop, the lady who's been doing her nails for the last 25 years, the dry cleaners where she was going for the last 25, 30 years, all these people, her accountant, people that were in her life, I learned all that stuff from them. Like, you know, it'd be interesting to do a movie and have a montage, like, where I figured out her story, you know? And so her nail tech was like, oh, rich white man, rich old Jewish white man used to come here all the time, you know, take care of her, pay for everything, took her around the world. Like, she's been around the world so many times. Apparently she was with some rich Jewish contractor who, like, contracted shit all over the world. And
was she beautiful in her day?
Yeah, she was really pretty. She was beautiful. I mean, she was just like a regular black looking lady, not like what, you know, a lot of black people think beautiful is like the lighter skinned you are, you know, which she's not that. She was just a brown woman, you know, just a regular. She was pretty though, you know, but she wouldn't convert to Judaism, so he never would, like, marry her. But he bought her. I don't know if you've ever seen me wear this ring, but people compliment me, and I only have it off because my fingers were breaking out, whatever. But it's a beautiful ring that he bought her in Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. And it's probably like 2.5 carats or something, 3 carats. Mm-hmm. And it's just gorgeous. And I wear it all the time because I'm scared to, like, take it off.
Yeah.
And like the nurses aren't comfortable with her wearing it anymore because her knuckles are, they've kind of got. I had to get it cut off her finger.
Like arthritic or
Yeah, from that we had to go get it cut off, and then they put it back together, and we were putting it around her neck, letting her wear it as a necklace. But then they just say they don't even want to bother with it, especially since she's on hospice right now. So there's hospice nurses in and out, and they don't really want to be responsible.
When people are on hospice, that means they might not have much longer.
But see, a bitch like me knew that putting her on hospice would have the diapers free and free insures and all this free stuff. And I told them not to give her any morphine no matter what. Like, they can't give her morphine. That's pretty much what kills you when you're on hospice, is they just, like, help you, and which is why I don't understand why they were so pissed at Dr. Kevorkian for people wanting to just, that's what they really do is, like, so she's not on any strong meds, and she's been on hospice for 6 months. And, the reality is she's not getting better. And it's saved us on having to, take her to the hospital over and over and get transportation to and from the hospital, when they can just come in and they bring the x-ray machines and they bring whatever and prescribe whatever, so it's just easy.
Because they didn't, and you were saying in your story, when I saw you at the storytelling show, bedtime stories at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room, you were saying that originally they didn't want to let her live in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Like, she had to sue
She had to
Hills.
sue to live there. Yep, she sued, and we found, when we were cleaning all her stuff out, we found like these articles, and it was like Negro woman sues to live, and they had to do, and she owned an apartment building too that's like on Ridgely. It's mid city or whatever, and she she's a prominent woman, and here she is. They won't even rent to her, And just to put into perspective, like her mindset. We were driving past the pub one day when she was still in her right mind, and I was like, "Oh, I don't go to pubs. They, black people don't belong in Irish pubs." And she was like, "Well, why not?" She said, "If you go in there, you'll be one. You'll be one." And that's just how she lived her life, and she didn't give a fuck. And even the people around Beverly Hills, around her neighborhood, they made it hell for us, because we pretty much had to not move in with her, but we were there all the time when her transition was happening. And they would call the police on us. They would do all kind of, just like, they did not want us there. And she had already been there 30 years. This is just 2 years ago, 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, they made it hell for us. These police, they were the worst people in the world. They made it so hard for us. Eventually, we just ended up moving her.
Yeah, you guys had to move her out of Beverly Hills?
We moved her out. Plus, she didn't need to be walking up and down those stairs. She couldn't take care of herself. So we moved her to an assisted living facility in Glendale with the Armenians. We let the Armenians have her.
Yeah, the Armenians.
They could take care of her crazy ass, So they did. And,
yeah, there's a lot of crazy in Glendale.
Yeah.
And not even dementia. Just crazy.
Just crazy. So
yeah,
so
they were
right
like, we got a place for her. We got a spot.
Yeah.
We got a room ready.
Yes. Room ready. So.
Yeah, no, well, and I understand what you're saying, like with the, I know some people think it sounds callous or whatever, but it's just the way it is. I've seen a lot of comics have to stop doing comedy because they needed to take care of an older, like their parents and stuff like that. And that is a lot to ask of somebody that's not your mother.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're doing as much as you're able to do is great, and making sure that she didn't get taken for her money by somebody.
Yeah.
That alone is a huge thing, because there's so many people that don't, like old people that don't have anybody to take care of them.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any kids of her own.
She doesn't have kids, even though I tell people she's my aunt, because it's just easier for me to do her business.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to hear that you're a cousin. They're like, a cousin? What kind of cousin? From, so it's just easier for me to tell them that. And it's just, you can get stuff done.
Yeah.
So.
Well, whatever it takes to get it done and get her taken care of, because, sometimes doing things the quote unquote right way isn't going to get anything done. It's just not.
It doesn't.
Like you can try your best, but they're still gonna stop you. So if you say it's your aunt and that's what you have to do to make sure that she gets taken care of, I think that's a great thing because I can't say that outside of my parents, there's anybody else that I go to those
Wipe
lengths
their ass.
for.
Ty, I have to get up in the morning and go in there, and she tries to fight, and she raises up on her elbows, or she'll be like, "What you? I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your ass." And I said, "I don't think you can." "Oh, I think I can. Oh, I think I can." Then you start taking the cover off, and she's in this diaper. She's just like this little frail old woman, and you gotta move her over to the. I'm like, she's screaming the whole time. "Neighbors, call the police! You dirty bitch! You dirty dog! Ooh, you dirt." And I'm like, "Bitch, I'm wiping your ass and I'm the dirty dog." Like, oh my God, it's the craziest shit. She calls me all kind of names.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
it's so funny.
I know how they do. For a while, my grandma, my dad's mom, had to live with us, and it was the same situation, like dementia. And I saw like my mom, because it was her mother-in-law, and she never liked my mom anyway. And so my mom tried her best to help her out, but she would fight my mom literally, like try to physically fight her. And my mom would have to use all of her restraint to be like, okay, let me just hold her down or make it so she can't hurt me. And one time it was about bread because, I guess my grandma being diabetic, I think it wasn't supposed to have white bread, and this was when I was really young, and she got into the white bread, and she was sitting there eating it, just eating bread, and my mom had to take it away from her, and it turned into a physical thing, and my mom didn't do anything to hurt her, but my mom let my dad know after that. She was like, "I can't do this anymore," because one time it was the same, like my grandma had like peed on the bathroom floor, and my mom had to clean that up and clean her up, and my mom just was like, "I've got kids."
It's so much to deal with somebody with dementia, and the police aren't equipped to deal with this with situations the right. Like people just, and it's becoming a real problem in our country with the baby boomers who are living very long lives. You know what I mean? People are living well into their 90s, and that's a problem and their kids are in their 60s. They're too old to even be taking care of them and doing stuff, And it's just like, wow.
Yeah, I don't want to get super old. I told people that, and they act
either.
like it's like a morbid thing, or it's just like, no, I don't.
If I'm not going to be healthy, I don't want to be old.
Yeah, sometimes I mentioned on stage one time, I was like, if I live to a point where I can only stuff like ice cream, God is punishing me. Life's not a gift anymore. I don't feel like that's where I want to be. If I can't wipe my own ass, I'm ready to go.
Me too. When I lose my first tooth, I'm going to be ready to go. Like, I don't want to be here with missing teeth. Like, who does that? I don't want to be here with no teeth tied.
I don't blame you.
And that's going to hurt my heart so bad, like, to have to,
Yeah.
pop some teeth in and out. Like, when the first one goes, I'm just going to get implants in the whole
Yeah, just
thing.
have them drilled up into your head.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
God.
But by then, we'll both have made it. So we'll have completely different point of view. We'll be like best doctors, best dentists. Everything will be like...
I'm going to let you try them out first.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have them first.
Yeah.
I'm older, and I don't take as good a care of myself as people think. People think because I go to the gym, I take care of myself. Going to the gym's all I do. Like the rest, I live kind of a not always the healthiest lifestyle. But where can people find you?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook at Dicey Comedy, and that's my Twitter handle too, at Dicey Comedy. And on Instagram, I'm at Dicey Approved.
On Instagram, it's at Dicey Approved.
I used to have a blog, a style fashion blog, and when I started taking care of Betty, I couldn't keep it up, but I'm going to come back out with it, and that's what it was called. It was called Dicey Approved.
Yeah, so Dicey. So
Approved. Tonight, I'm going to be at the Improv in Hollywood with Theo Vaughn. That's gonna be cool.
Nice.
We're the only two comics on the show, but there's like some music or something else going on too. So that's
Big room, little room.
big room.
Nice. That's great.
That's gonna be nice. And yeah.
Any touring coming up or?
I got I'll be at the Improv in Arlington, Texas over Thanksgiving, and then I have 3 dates coming up in October 15th is one. That's the only one I can remember because that's closest at the Madhouse Comedy Club in San Diego. So
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to travel more. Ty, you said you was gonna take me with you one day.
Yeah, I'll definitely take
So-
you. Yeah, that is on my list.
Okay, yeah.
I just got to have some shit that's worth you coming on.
You're on my list too.
Where you're not mad at me like, that
I
wasn't
know.
shit.
I don't. It'll just be fun.
That wasn't shit.
Nobody will know. We'll just get on Facebook Live like everything is all good.
Yeah,
and
it's
nobody
going to
will-
be like glamorous, completely. We'll shoot it at a different venue
Yeah.
than the one we're actually performing at.
That's so funny. That's
Yeah.
all that matters is Facebook.
But
so.
that's definitely something I do want to do. I want to take you out to some, because I really like what you do. And I really
Thank you,
like your
Ty.
point of view. And I know, grow however you have to grow. But just don't let other people's trying to tell you what you should do. Don't let that come into play. Just do what you feel is right for you. Because I think you're really on a good track. And I think if you just continue doing what comes naturally to you and staying, go up as much as you possibly can and, stay right with God.
Yes. Thank you. They can't see my heavenly hands are waved up in the
Yeah,
air
I
on
see
this
your
Sunday.
heavenly hands. You are doing it, and it is Sunday, so yeah, I really feel like you're on a good track. So
Thank you, Ty.
I'm
Thank
glad
you,
you
for
were
having
able to
me.
make it. Yeah, no, I'm glad you were able to make it, and we'll have you back again when we
Yes.
both have something that gets
I
on our
know
nerves.
exactly. Yeah.
Everybody, you can find me at americasfavoritefag.com. It gets more ridiculous every week that I say it, but it's true. americasfavoritefag.com, and that'll link you to everything you want. My Twitter, my Facebook, my I have a blog, but I never put anything in it. So my blog that doesn't really exist. Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm Ty Rivera, and I remain unbothered.